In the immediate aftermath of the Mormon church being attacked, as always, people want to find out, what do we know about the person? And the person was identified relatively quickly in this case, partially because he was killed in a shootout with police. Here is the individual, a photo of him, which appears to show him in a Trump 2020 shirt with "Make Liberals Cry Again" there. Now, we cannot say for sure that a person wearing a shirt like that is an accurate reflection of who they are, or especially what motivates an act of violence that they commit. It could be totally disconnected. There are initial reports coming out of a person who says that they spoke to this guy very recently, and he went off on a tirade against the Mormon church. It is entirely possible that he was just motivated by some sort of insane issue that he has with the Mormon church. Bearing in mind, America has long had, there's people who are critics of the Mormon church. There's also conspiracy theories about the Mormon church. There's factionalism among different Christian denominations. It's entirely possible that was the entirety of his motivation. It could be that he had an issue with this particular church, or a person or a group of people at this particular church. It is also possible that it was some sort of political thing. I don't know. I have seen nothing implying that it's connected to Tyler Robinson and Utah and all that. I mean, it's possible. Again, this guy, all of these people who had talked to him recently said he seemed relatively normal. It didn't seem like there was any indication, other than the one guy who said he went off on a tirade about the Mormon church. I will say though, if that picture showed him wearing a dark Brandon shirt, I feel like people would immediately say that's the only possible explanation. I'm not saying it's the only explanation. This guy could have been wearing the shirt ironically, I suppose. I don't know a lot of Democrats who were doing that in 2020, but I suppose it's possible. It could also be that he liked Trump in 2020 and then stopped liking him at some point. The second guy who did an attempt on Trump's life was one of those. He was so obsessed about Trump. We actually found out, thanks to Candace Owens, he would comment on damage report videos, angry that we were critical of Trump, and then he eventually tried to take him out himself. Now, we do also know that this guy had a Trump sign outside of his house, although it is possible that his wife had put it up rather than him. I mean, his wife had posted stuff about being really in favor of Donald Trump on social media, but again, people can change. All I'm saying is there is, I don't know, 10 times more evidence of this guy's particular political values than there is in the case of, for instance, the ICE shooter, Tyler Robinson. Everybody feels like they know exactly what was going on with those, that they were leftists, and all we have is a shell casing that said anti-ICE in blue Sharpie, and a mom saying that Tyler Robinson had gone left. No rally, like attendance, no vote records, no social media posts, nothing. In this case, we have more about a potential motivation. We know that this guy apparently had signed petitions in 2021 to take away Gretchen Whitmer's pandemic emergency powers, some sort of anti-abortion thing. I mean, again, that doesn't mean that the politics is what motivated him, but we do know something of his politics, JR. In any event, throwing all that out there, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, John, this is obviously all a Democrat-led hoax. So this guy was hired by George Soros, 10, 15 years ago. He's also a veteran, was hired by George Soros. And he was then put there to start wearing MAGA stuff, support MAGA. His mother, they hired her out so she could also post a bunch about how much she loves MAGA. All the way back in 2020, he was posting about how much he hates mask wearing, and also reposted things from Turning Point USA. Oddly, about how much it's a headache to argue with liberals. It's such a horrible thing, it's a shame that these type of guys get radicalized by the far left and then are put in place to try and make Donald Trump look bad at this very moment in time in order to make Donald Trump look bad, so that their whole narrative about 100% of political violence coming from the left will then be disrupted. You know what? Kash Patel is not gonna let this slide. He's gonna make sure he goes from the ends of earth to make sure that this guy, who's obviously a leftist, is going to be taken into consideration, and we're going to make sure that Antifa, who he was obviously a part of, that is outside of the MAGA stuff, that they bring him to justice. This
My
is the
guess
stupid
would
ass
be
argument that we have to keep hearing. I just want to point out, this is the level of rejection and pushback that we get from people who say that they know what they're talking about. And instead of people dismissing them outright and saying, please stop talking to me, we know the reality of it's right in front of our faces. Instead, we go, well, maybe they have a point. No, they don't have a point. Let's stop acting like they have a point outside of the fact that they keep pointing guns at people.
Yeah. Exactly. My prediction is that Cash Shell cracks this thing, finds some shell casings, and written in paint Sharpie is actually I was wearing the t-shirt ironically. Ha ha lols. And then don't worry, we're gonna figure out all this. Again, by the way, I'm being more responsible than any of these right-wing podcasters who get to have cable news hosts fired or whatever whenever they want. It is entirely possible that the politics and the anti-Mormon stuff is not explicitly or rationally connected. I mean, the person's insane. He drove his car into a church, set it on fire, and started shooting people. I don't expect logic or rationality from this person. And as of right now, there's no manifesto or anything. I'm just saying that if this person was a leftist, if they had literally posted like a trans flag 3 years ago on Instagram, that would be open and shut. That's all I'm saying. Let's just bear that in mind. Also, can we jump ahead to graphic 7 for 1 sec, and then we'll end this thing. It's like a White House aide, I think, posted this. It's an Axios study. Says Democrats calling your political opponents Nazis has consequences. Study, left-wing terrorism climbs to 30-year high. Which, to be clear, is not at all what the chart actually shows, and Axios made clear that's not what it's showing. The only thing Axios was saying is that left-wing terrorism has been more common this year, which has never happened in 30 years. And first of all, let's pause on that. Keep that graph up. Because one thing, let's keep that graph up. If you can look at that as that White House aide and see that for 30 years, right-wing terrorism has overwhelmingly dominated, and then you're mad at the left after that, my God, do you need to pause for a second and read what you're tweeting? But second of all, left-wing terrorism more common than right-wing so far. Sure, I guess if we're gonna do the thing where any, like Discord nihilist or something gets classified as a leftist, then sure, you can manipulate those numbers a little bit. I will just say there are like kind of mixed clues to a political motivation, and then there's some places where it is super, super clear, and those are just not the same thing. If you enjoyed that, make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming an actual member. But you're probably wondering, why the hell would I do that, John? First off, calm down. The stakes in this are very, very low. But also, when you click the join button and you become a member, you get access to bonus content that I make every week, and it's a ton of fun. You get access to tons of custom emojis and more besides that. By the way, if you join at tier 3, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself and other awesome people, and we always have a great time. By the way, you'll get all that going forward, but you also unlock years of the back catalog. That is literally 100 or more bonus clips, top 10 lists, debates, and more. What are you waiting for? Click the join button below. Your support powers our show, and we couldn't do it without you. Or at the very least, I wouldn't really want to try. Viewers like you keep me here. So thank you in advance for joining.